I'm working in the New Perspectives Microsoft Access 2010 textbook. I'm in Tutorial 5, and I'm on page AC 233, and I'm going to create a parameter query. I'm going to follow the steps in the book. Not exactly. I'm going to take this step by step as we go from creating a simple parameter to creating a parameter where you yourself enter the wildcard, to finally ending up with the parameter query as shown in the book on page AC 236, where you type in the value and the query, the parameter query, automatically enters the wildcard for you. So let's begin by creating a query. We're going to create a query that is based on the customer name query. So I'll right-click on it and copy and paste, and I'm going to call this customers by name parameter, and then wipe out the copy of. Now this customers by name parameter we created in an earlier video session. If your customer by name query is not working, if when you run it you get an error message, you can be pretty well assured that your customers by name parameter query that's based on it is not going to work either. So if this query is not working, you should review the video that was created on creating a conditional value in a query. Make sure that your query is working and then go on to these next steps. So I'm going to open this query, switch to Design View, and we're going to move over to the city field, and we're going to add a parameter to it. Parameter values are enclosed in brackets. So I'm going to start with a bracket, and I'm going to type the city, colon, and in this case, colon is merely punctuation. The brackets are required, but the colon is just punctuation. There's nothing magic about that colon. I can take it out. And I'll run it, and it's going to give me the enter parameter value dialog box. Now some of you have seen this before. You've seen it where it says query1.customer. And that has to do with creating a sort in datasheet view before the query was saved. That's a real common error that occurs in this particular book, where we create the query, we do a sort on it, and then we save it. I really suggest that as you're creating your queries, you create the query just far enough to know that it's working. You've added the fields, you've ran it, you've tested to find out that it's got the right number of records. Save it, and then do the rest of the changes to it. So I'm going to enter the city, and I'm going to put in Holland, and when I run it, I should get all of the customers who are located in the city of Holland. The problem with this query is if you don't know how to spell something, you'll get nothing. So what we can do to this query is we can add the opportunity for you to add a wildcard to it. What we saw earlier in the chapter is that when we put a wildcard on the end of something, like appeared on the beginning. So what happens if we just put like on it? So I'm going to try that and run it, and I'm going to put in HOL, because I don't know how to spell Holland, wildcard. And what that does is it allows the wildcard to work. Let's take a look at this. I'm going to take the like out. I'm going to try to run this again. I'm going to put HOL, and I'll type in the wildcard just to show it to you. It won't work. It won't work in this case, HOL wildcard, because Access is looking for exactly that value, HOL wildcard. That value does not exist in our city field. When I put the like in front of it, now it's going to allow me to input the wildcard character. So when I run it, I can put in HOL wildcard, and it'll return all of those cities that begin with HOL. When I run it and I don't input a value and click OK, I get nothing. Now moving on to what they want us to do in the textbook, they want like type the city and the wildcard character. So what this is going to do is it's automatically going to add the wildcard character to the end of any string I input. So when I run it, I can put in we know that the city is actually Grand Rapids, not Grand Rapid. And so it's returned every customer whose city name begin with Grand Rapid. Now, in this one, if I do not input a value, it's going to return every record that has a value in that field. If there is no value in that field, it won't return it. So let's just go to Sabrina Fernandez here, our first customer, and we'll take out her city field, and we'll run this one again. Now you see that she's gone. In the textbook, it's going to tell you to create a query that's going to return all of the records if no value is input. And as we've gone through here, I've constantly had you counting and comparing your results. And you're going to find in some of these queries, like the one for color, I believe it is, in the supplier exercise, that you write the query, you write it properly, but you should have 63 records and you have 47. And what's happened there is that all of the records that have no color are eliminated from the query results. But actually, if you do the parameter query the way that you see right here, that is what they're looking for in the textbook. It may not be what you want, but it is what they're looking for in the textbook. So I'm going to go ahead and save this, close it. I'm going to go find Sabrina, and I should find her in my customers by name. And I'm going to go back in and add her city.